All right, so we're diving into Ina Garten's Be Ready When the Luck Happens.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
It is right. I mean, everyone knows Ina Garten, the Barefoot Contessa.
Yeah, she's an icon.
She is, but her story, getting to that iconic status is anything but straightforward.
Exactly. It's so interesting. You wouldn't expect it.
No, not at all. Like the book starts off and she describes her childhood as a dour existence,
Yeah.
strict parents, pretty limited food experience.
Which is wild, right? Considering what she does now.
Right. Can you imagine Ina Garten growing up with margarine is the only spread allowed?
No way. It really makes you appreciate how much she must have craved that creativity and
And,
freedom.
and the connection through food, that comes up a lot.
Absolutely. It's like that pink tea set she got as a gift was this tiny little hint of what was to come.
Foreshadowing. Okay, so then comes Jeffrey. Enter Jeffrey. It feels like a turning point, their meeting.
Huge turning point. He was the one encouraging her to try new things, be more
And
adventurous.
their relationship was pretty unconventional for the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, she took the lead, challenged those traditional
He
roles
even calls him the first feminist she knew.
because he truly believed in her, right?
Yeah.
He pushed her to achieve her potential.
Like that story about the history class bet. He conveniently forgot to mention the professor never gave ass.
Classic Jeffrey. It speaks volumes about their dynamic. He saw her strength.
He did. Okay, so we've got young Annie, ready to break free, a supportive Jeffrey by her side. But how does this lead to the Barefoot Contessa?
Well, it starts with a help wanted ad, actually, in the New York Times.
Okay.
Specialty food shop in the Hamptons. Unlimited potential.
Oh,
Will
yeah.
interview.
Unlimited potential, huh? I'd be intrigued too.
Right. And this is 1978. Specialty food was just starting to become a thing.
So not exactly a guaranteed path to success.
No, it was a huge leap of faith. Passion over business acumen, for sure.
And she goes for it, buys the store. But those early days, not glamorous to say the least.
Not at all. She talks about an $87 day.
Oof. Talk about a wake-up call.
Yeah, serious reality check. She had to learn to adapt fast.
And she did. Catering for a drug dealer where no one touched the food, poaching salmon for 30 people using Julia Child's cookbook as her guide,
Talk about trial by fire.
and those weekly food runs to New York City. Renting a station wagon at 3 a.m., that's dedication.
Plus, she was getting exposed to the best suppliers, the highest quality ingredients.
Right, Aleva Dairy, all those iconic places.
Yeah, it was like culinary boot camp in a way.
And let's not forget those teenage employees taking off for European vacations.
Oh, yeah. Managing staff was a whole other challenge.
It definitely paints a picture of the realities of running a seasonal business.
But even with all that chaos, there were moments that really shaped her success.
Like the brownie experiment. Tell me more about that.
Well, she realized that if you make something amazing, use the best ingredients, people will pay for it.
Makes sense. Quality over quantity, right?
Exactly. It was a turning point in how she thought about pricing and the power of good ingredients.
Smart. And then she builds this incredible team.
Oh, yeah. Anna Pump, who really shaped the Barefoot Contessa culture.
And Ted Libeth, her driver who became her gourmet food guide.
She was so good at bringing together the right people.
And then the move to East Hampton, that was a big decision, right?
Strategic. It helped her create a year-round business.
But then Jeffrey's career takes them to Tokyo. 2 stores, a trans-Pacific commute. How does she even manage that?
She perfected the zombie run, as she calls it. Back
Yeah.
and forth, sheer willpower.
Resilience for sure. But even with all the success, she was always seeking a new challenge.
Like she needed to keep pushing herself, exploring.
Which leads us to a big turning point,
Yeah.
selling the store.
Yep. Venturing beyond the world of the shop.
So the question is, what led her to cookbooks and television? Was it planned or just like fate?
A bit of both, I think. She needed a new challenge, but there were definitely some hurdles.
Like self-doubt when writing that first cookbook.
Oh, absolutely. And her publisher wasn't initially on board with her approach.
But she had that swing for the fences mentality, right?
Yes, she trusted her gut, created a cookbook that was different, more personal.
And it paid off. She always put the user experience first, both with the cookbooks and later with the show.
It shows how much she cares about connecting with people, making cooking accessible.
Absolutely. Okay, so cookbooks were a hit, but how does she become a TV star? Was that the plan all along?
Not really. She actually resisted the idea at first.
Really?
Yeah, but then she saw Nigella Lawson's show and was inspired by how approachable it was.
So Ina Garten, the accidental TV star.
Exactly. She had to overcome her fear of being on camera, find the right people to work with, and create a show that felt authentic to her.
And that's what makes her so relatable, right? It feels like you're getting a glimpse into her life, her love of food and entertaining.
Yeah, and her genuine connections with people. It's not about performing, it's about sharing.
And that brings us to the heart of Ina Garten's story. Those life lessons and reflections that emerge from this very unconventional path.
From being flexible to trusting your gut, there's so much to unpack here.
Absolutely. Let's dive into that next.
So we were talking about life lessons from Ina Garten.
And there are a lot of them. Right.
So many. But I think one of the biggest is this idea of flexibility.
Like rolling with the punches.
Exactly. She talks about this early on when they first moved to North Carolina,
Oh, right. That disastrous rental house situation.
where they ended up sharing a house with this family they barely knew.
Talk about a crash course in adaptability.
Right. She could have been so disappointed, but instead she embraced it.
Learn to cook on that tiny little stove.
Yeah, and even made some great friends in the process.
It's a good reminder to make the best of any situation.
Absolutely. And it's something that comes up again and again in her story.
Like with that whole East Hampton store location debacle.
Oh my gosh, yes. When she almost lost the space because of a disagreement over the rent.
Can you believe that? 50 cents a square foot.
It's crazy. But she saw the potential of that location and wasn't afraid to take the risk.
And thank goodness she did. It became the iconic Barefoot Contessa store.
Exactly. So being open to possibilities, being willing to pivot when things don't go as planned.
That's a big one, isn't it?
It is. And it ties into her swing for the fences mentality,
Which is basically go for it.
right?
Yeah.
Take that calculated risk, bet on yourself, even if you're not totally sure how things will work out.
But it's not just blind optimism, is it?
No, definitely not. She works incredibly hard. She's always learning and adapting,
But there's also that underlying belief that it'll all work out in the end.
even if it's not always in the way you expect.
That's inspiring. But let's be real. Not all of us have that Ina Garten level of resilience.
Right. But I think we can still apply these lessons in our own lives.
How so?
Well, first, we need to recognize that success isn't linear.
Meaning?
There will be bumps in the road, moments of doubt, unexpected challenges.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But instead of letting those setbacks define us, we can choose to see them as opportunities.
To learn, to grow.
Exactly. It's about shifting our perspective, embracing the messy, unpredictable nature of life.
So maybe it's not about becoming the next Ina Garten, but about finding our own version of that swing for the fences mentality.
I love that. What are you passionate about? What risks are you willing to take?
And who knows, maybe a little bit of that Ina Garten magic will rub off on us along the way.
I think it will.
Okay, so we've covered a lot here. Her early life, the Barefoot Contessa journey, the move to cookbooks and TV.
It's quite a story.
It really is. But before we wrap up, there's one more thing I want to talk about.
Okay, what's that?
Her experience with 60 Minutes.
Oh, yeah. That's an interesting perspective,
They basically said she was just lucky.
which at first really threw her for a loop.
Right. She started questioning everything.
Like, was it all just a matter of being in the right place at the right time?
And then she remembered that quote from Rob Marshall.
About being ready when the luck happens.
And it totally reframed her thinking.
Because it wasn't just about chance encounters.
It was about being prepared, being open to possibilities, having the courage to seize those moments.
And that's what makes her story so powerful.
It's not about a preordained path.
It's about creating the conditions for luck to find you.
And we all have more agency than we think.
We can't control everything, but we can choose how we respond to those opportunities.
And that's a pretty empowering thought, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So what do you think? What would your swing for the fences moment look like?
It's different for everyone, right?
It is. But I think Ina's story gives us permission to dream a little bigger, be a little bolder.
I agree. It's not always about those huge, life-altering decisions.
Right. Sometimes it's the smaller choices we make every day,
Like what?
like deciding to learn a new skill, even if it seems kind of intimidating at first.
Yeah. Or taking on a project that pushes you out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's knowing when to let go of something that's not working anymore.
That can be tough.
Oh, it is. It's so easy to get stuck in a routine, even if it's not making you happy.
It's comfortable, familiar.
Exactly. But Ina's story reminds us that change can be a really good thing.
It can lead to growth, new passions, new possibilities.
And it's a reminder that success doesn't happen overnight.
Nope.
It's a journey with all those ups and downs and unexpected turns.
And you're rarely alone on that journey.
True. Ina had so many people supporting her along the way.
She did. From Jeffrey, always believing in her.
To that amazing team she built at Barefoot Contessa.
She always surrounded herself with people who shared her vision.
And she never lost sight of that human connection.
Right. Whether it was through her cookbooks or her show, it was always about more than just the food.
It was about bringing people together,
Creating memories.
sharing a meal.
And that's such a powerful message, especially these days.
It is. It's a reminder to slow down, appreciate the simple things,
Savor the moment.
nourish ourselves and those around us.
Exactly.
So I guess what I'm taking away from all of this is that success isn't just about luck or talent,
It's about having the courage to follow your passion,
trusting your gut.
being willing to adapt.
And yeah, maybe a little luck doesn't hurt either.
But most importantly, I think it's about finding the joy in the journey.
In those everyday moments that make life worth living.
That's beautifully said.
And as Ina might say, how easy was that?
Well, maybe not easy.
But definitely delicious.
Agreed. So on that note, I think we've reached the perfect ending to our deep dive.
Into the world of Ina Garten.
A world of good food, good company, and good living.
And until next time, happy cooking, everyone.
And may you always be ready when the luck happens.